I still can't see you on my screen.
On Discord, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Have you clicked on where it says live and then clicked watch stream? And then you should see...
It's worked this time.
You didn't click it, did you? Did you, Gary?
I
You
did.
didn't click it? I don't believe you.
I did.
Um, Great shot of Greyball's forehead. Nice, nice. So yeah, so today's topic then, guys, is the Modify Steyr Scout Rifle, which is obviously licensed and distributed by ASG here in Europe. Oddly, not Asia. I think Modify are selling it themselves in Asia, aren't they? And then in Europe and America,
Actually,
it's
yeah.
ASG.
Yeah. In Asia, Modify, they're already within their second batch. I think they're about to hit their third batch in Asia.
Hmm.
Obviously they sent everything over to Europe through shipping containers, so it's all been sat somewhere in a boat.
Yeah, I saw someone do a video review it months ago before they even hinted that they were on a en
Mm.
route here. Hello, everyone in the comments, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see a question thing yet, but at some point, probably towards the end of the stream, I'll put a thing in so you guys can ask some questions that me and Gary will go through at the end. But for now, yeah, so obviously Gary's had the scout rifle for, what, 8 weeks? You've had it a while, haven't you?
I Yeah, it was about 4 to 6 weeks before the release date in the UK. It was.
Hmm. Yeah, so you've had
I
it a
got I
while.
got two. Yeah, I got two of them.
Is the one of them the one that's here? I say here, it's not here, it's at the workshop, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I kept the grey one for myself, and sent you or brought the black one down to you.
Hmm. So, initial thoughts. I suppose I'll let you do most of the talking on this bit, Gary, because you've had it a lot longer than I have. I've absolutely ripped it to pieces already, but you've obviously
Yeah,
had the longevity. So,
yeah. Well,
so this is the black one, everyone. By the way, that's the one that Gary kindly brought down for me to have a look at
yeah, that's the one.
with a cheeky little
Uh,
scope on it. Not in the scout position because I'm poor.
and that's the screen color makes it look a bit odd, but this is the grey one, so you get the accents between the different panels.
Yeah, see, I
But
like it. I think they are just appealing rifles.
yes, yeah, I think they're great. Um, Quality wise, I think it's astounding, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, we say that someone's just asked in the comments about what's the performance like out the box, but quality-wise, I
Yeah,
obviously I've got no ties to Modify or any companies,
no,
um,
no,
so I've got no reason to say nice things or bad things. But there's few rifles that I have seen that have the quality, both internally and external. Like there are a few little internal things I'd maybe tweak, but externally, the only other rifle that I've had in my hands that's got the same sort of quality as this is either original Tanakas in any of the fancy stocks they came in,
yeah,
and probably the VFC Proline rifle, the gas one. The externals on that were brilliant,
yeah.
but otherwise,
VFC always been like really high quality licensed gear, isn't it? So
yeah. Usually when you get something that's licensed, they really put the effort in, and like you
yeah,
compare, like Modify rifles are fine. Like the original Mod 24 was their first sort of
okay,
foray into it, and yeah, you could do some work to them and make them good. But as far as this being their proper first licensed gun, it is genuinely outstanding. Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
was a
I
bit
mean,
dubious when you said about bringing it down, and then when I literally sort of had it in my hand and felt it, I was like, yeah, fair play. It's a really
yeah.
good bit of kit.
Was even like the quality of the polymer stock's like really thick and heavy. Actually, attributes to making it feel like a real gun.
There's no
Um,
seams. There's literally no seams, no flaring, no bulges. It is.
no, not even where the. It's difficult to see the seams where the bipod
Let me see
interacts.
if I've got any pictures that I can show. Any close-up pictures?
Yeah, the
No.
only thing that's the lowest quality part of this rifle, aluminium barrel they supply, just because it's aluminium, but it's coated and it's straight, and it's not very long either. Is it
No.
360 or something?
Three. I've got a feeling it's 370 because 370 is a standard sort of M4 length barrel, and obviously they've got their XTC series of M4s, haven't they? So it makes sense to
Yes,
sort
yeah,
of upcycle the barrels they've got. But
yeah,
yeah, internally, I'd say I mean, obviously, for everyone watching, there might be a link in this. I'm still trying to get used to the Facebook platform. Obviously, I was on Twitch, but there might be a link that pops up, and I've actually just released the blog post of the Steyr Scout tonight. So that's got all the breakdown of the images on there. But yeah, I'd say like the mags are good quality. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so there's literally, obviously that's a really close picture, but there's literally nothing there. Like the mags are good. Also, for the people watching this and looking at that picture, so the left side of that picture is a spare mag inside a dummy mag inside the rear of the stock. Some Inception stuff right there, and I like it.
Yeah.
It's like Action Army did it with the T10, didn't they? In the T11s, they had that extra mag that you could hide in
the fake mag. Yeah.
So that's in the back end of the receiver, and then in the sort of just after the trigger, before the actual mag goes, there's another mag holder, which I believe serves a purpose later on. But they've even put foam in it, like simple things like that. They put a bit of foam in there just to fill the cavity, which is brilliant.
That's got a second job. In the foam, you can stab and poke an Allen key in there.
Yeah.
Use it as tool
great minds, Gary. Great minds.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, an Allen key will fit right through there.
You just poke them in. Which comes into play later on. But like the magazines, they're like the L96 or the Mod 24. They're sprung loaded. So it's like you just release the catch and the magazine ejects out the rifle. It's no fiddling around.
That's one thing I genuinely like about the sort of APS2-esque platforms is the mags. Like VSR mags, I mean, they do the job, they work. But if you're wearing gloves or if you've got certain stocks, they're just a little bit fiddly to get out. Whereas APS2 mags, just pop it, whether it's this, something like the Type 96, the Maruzans, SSG, obviously. These mags don't work in... These mags do work in the other rifles, but the other rifles' mags don't work in this rifle. Is that right?
Yeah.
From memory?
Jonathan May, he has confirmed this, but yeah, the Scout mags work in the Mod 24 or Mod 24 or the SSG 24. Those mags don't work in this. And I think these mags are shorter than the Mod 24, SSG 24.
I should have tested that actually, because I actually had my SV98 out yesterday, the day before, which is running that part that you made, Gary, in preparation of the next part. Still stupid quiet. Like that gun defies physics. It shouldn't be as it is. So I should have tried the mag while I had it out, but maybe I'll have a look tomorrow. What else? So there's been a few comments. So I'll go through some of these comments, Gary. I don't know if you can see the comments, but I'll read them out. And if there was any question-y type ones, we'll just do a few as we're going through. David Gray says, what do they retail at? 400?
Yeah, they're 400. Combat Action Games in Norfolk, they sell them 400. Land Warrior
Airsoft,
yeah, they're up a bit more. They're about 430, 440. So you're looking between 4 and 440.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple for 400, and then there's a few companies who are asking silly money for it, and I think that's because they're not authorized distributors. Won't go into that though.
Yes, they bought them from somewhere else.
Yes. As far as I saw another question come in, something about, how's the performance? Is it equal to the TAC? I mean, obviously me and Gary are,
out the box, this is better than the TAC.
Yeah, I would.
In every way.
The TAC is, well, saying that, if you're using the stock TAC piston, even that's pretty bloody loud.
Yeah.
The bolt pull on the mod is one of the smoothest out of box. It's just everything is just.
It means Scout.
Yeah, sorry, Scout, not the TAC. So I'll do some pros and cons of both rifles, and then I'll hand over to you, Gary, and you can do your pros and cons. So I'll start with the Scout. So pros for me are, it's a smidge more expensive than the TAC, but my argument to that would be it comes with the ability to use VSR style hops. Not all VSR buckins work. So it already uses better buckins in my opinion, and it already has the capability of using not VSR, gas blowback barrels. I think the cut's further along than a VSR.
Yeah.
And there's no notch in the chamber. So for me, that's a bonus. Being able to use open window barrels versus AG, I like over the tack. So you think Silverback are obviously bringing out a gas blowback cylinder head, which you're going to have to buy, and a gas blowback unit you're going to have to buy, which then means you're going to have to buy a gas blowback barrel, and then you're going to have to buy a gas blowback bucking. So even though the Steyr's 40 quid more, depending where you buy it, you're saving a lot more money than to put the equivalent barrel and bucking sort of system in a tack. Performance wise, they're similar, but I do think the Steyr has the edge. I think it's more consistent. Like range and accuracy are similar. Like if you upgraded the tack so it was shooting at the same joules as a Scout, then I don't think there'd be a huge difference. But again, out of the box, you can just put a 4.5, and some people have got away with 4.8. So I think I've hopped 4.5s without a problem, and then I've put the little nubby thing in, and now it's fine. Yeah. So cons, it's loud. It's got a little twang to it. Again, really easy to fix with the can mod, like not the end of the world in the slightest. And if you're going to strip and clean the rifle, then it's one of those things you're probably going to do it anyway. I don't like the fact that you have to undo one bipod leg if you want to use the side adjust. Oh, your camera froze for a second there, Gary. Right, I'm sure Gary will be back in a second. But yeah, I think the Steyr is a good rifle. Certainly gives attack the run for the money. Aesthetically, it looks a little bit different, obviously. Obviously, one being a scout rifle, one being an actual sniper. But I do like them both. But the Scout for me is just, if we're not taking into consideration upgrades, so if you're just not replacing anything other than maybe a spring, I think the Scout takes it for me personally. But when you start putting upgrades in it, it levels out. Like obviously, a Wasp and my cylinder head in attack is phenomenally quiet, so that's not really fair to compare to the Steyr because there's nothing you can put in the Steyr yet. I suppose I'll answer some questions while I wait for him to come back on. Yeah, see, a few of you guys in the comments saying £400 is expensive. It is, but you look at the prices of an SSG, you look at the prices of a Silverback, either attack or a SRS. They're all in that sort of higher margin. So, and it's a licensed replica. So, like the Silverback SRSs, it's a licensed replica. So you're always going to end up paying more for that because the company making it's having to fork out to have the luxury of the license. Ambidextrous? No, not ambidextrous. It's right-handed, I'm afraid. Yeah, Gary did drop. Yeah, Ed, adding a suppressor to the Scout looks nice. I tried to put on a 14mm RD80 from Hadram. Assad did it. He sent me the file and I printed one. But the thread's messed up, so it's kind of on at an angle. But they do look good, and it depends if you're going to run it with a Scout scope or whether you are going to have it in sort of the standard configuration, which is what obviously I've got on mine. So I've got a Vortex scope on there, obviously in the standard position, but I have seen some people put the proper Scout optics on with obviously the huge eye relief, which would be pretty cool. Might make it a little front heavy, but should be good. Jake Newell says, do you know when we expect the cylinder head? If you mean the tack cylinder head, I've got them. I'm just waiting for the little cardboard inserts for the bags, and they'll be. I think the cardboard, the little slip things are due tomorrow. So if I get them packed tomorrow, then they should be available Friday. Have you not seen the shop that will not be named has made one of their rip-off pistons? Yeah, I'm not worried. A certain shop that does do stuff that may or may not be other people's also doesn't work. So I'm not too bothered for that. I'm not surprised. The Scout's very similar to a VSR. Like we're talking, there's a few little things that stop it from being a drop-in VSR piston. Yeah, Hutchie, I saw that you did the can mod and stuff. It worked quite well. I haven't done mine yet. I will. But I won't need to because there might be a wasp. So, what are we talking about? So, internals wise. Boop. Nope. Boop. There we go. No, wrong one. Don't want you. I want that one. So, what have I got? Initial thoughts, internals. So internals wise, it comes apart a bit like a VS. Is it more like a VS? It's more like an SSG 24 or a Mod 24 in terms of how it comes apart. So again, you can check the blog out. There should be a link in this video somewhere, or just go on the blog and you should be able to find it. I think Gary's going to be back in a second. Let me know when your cam's back. There we go. There we go. Gary's back.
Yeah. So my pros and cons on
Yeah.
the Mod 24 on the I'm saying it now. The Scout. It's the only thing that I don't like about the Scout is the fact that it's got that twang, and I've heard some. That's all right. I've heard some of the Scouts have less of a twang, the ones that I've seen, and the one that you've got. So, but that's all down to like the spring tolerances and stuff. And you've got different batches of springs.
Yeah, I mean the springs are good. Like someone asked about the springs. They're 13mm springs, aren't they? Standard APS2 ones.
Yeah.
I like Modify springs. I reckon they're one of, if not one, well, they're definitely one of the best 13mm springs.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a Modify spring I've had for 6 years or so, and it's the same power as today as what it was back then.
Yeah, I've got a 140. That picture I put up on Instagram of my VSR with the stupid consistency. I love that VSR. I haven't treated it very well. It hasn't been clean, stripped, or anything. That's still got a Modify M140 in there. Still punching out the jaws that it was before. Still consistent. Can't really knock it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's great. It's say I had to put a can on the inside of my spring and on the outside of the spring to take that twang out. The other con is, due to it being a fully licensed replica, it's an absolute bitch to strip. If you want to strip it down all the way to how it is on that picture there. And I say now, do not remove the trigger box. There's no need to remove the trigger box.
Don't do it.
If you want to take out the piston, the spring, and the guide, as that picture is there, just leave it in the receiver and just take the cylinder head off.
Yeah, I had mine apart the other day because obviously I was doing the blog post, and I took it apart when you first come down. We had it on the bench, didn't we? And I was like, right, common sense, let's have a look at this. Oh, right, okay. Yeah. The only thing that caught me out originally was there's a pin.
Yeah, like the bipod.
Yeah. And I was looking around and I looked at it and I was like, that will not be anything to do with taking this gun apart. Surely not. Surely not. That would be one of those if you just want to take the bipod out. And then, I got like the other 7 or 8 screws out and I was like, why? Why won't you work? And then it was like, oh yeah, the pin. Tap it out, job done. But yes, I was saying, while you're off, I was saying to the guys, stripping it is very much the same as like an SSG 24. Like in terms of how you just get to the internals. Minus the trigger, which is about as straightforward as, I don't know. I can't think of anything complicated off the top of my head. But it's a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
But as you were saying, like,
and the fact,
you don't need
and
to.
You need like 6 tools as well, not just like 2 Allen keys. It's like screwdriver.
Yeah, that got me, because obviously, like, you think of like a VSR, you need what?
2,
3. You need
and a screwdriver.
2 for the receiver, the hot block, the mid receiver, and then generally, depending if you've got like a Cyma or TM, the trigger tang screw is usually just a big Phillips.
Yeah.
And then obviously you've got the small little Allen key, and then you can get your receiver out and your barrel out. Job done. Whereas this, you've got like one on the top, which is a little one, and then you've got the pin, and then you've got another one that's 2 more that are a different size on either side of the receiver. So if you're looking at the picture where the cylinder is, there's sort of one at the 12 o'clock position on the top rail, which is a small one, and then you've got another one at the 9 and 3 o'clock position, which is another size, and then on the midsection of the receiver, which you can see above the hop unit, there's 2 Phillips screws to get the magwell off.
Yeah.
Then there's 2 smaller Phillips screws to get the arm off of the hop unit.
Yeah.
And then there's another top screw, and then you can undo the outer barrel, and then you can slide the 3 sections apart.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more complicated, but in terms of time, it's still a 5-10 minute job. Like if you even need to swap anything, like the only thing I'll put in mind is the Wasp. Is the Wasp. Otherwise, the bucking's great. Like their new bucking's really good. That stuck aluminium barrel shouldn't be good, but in fairness,
But it
it
is.
is. It's
Yeah.
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 I don't know longevity wise how long it will last because I've got a modified barrel up in my drawer that I've had for years that come out of a SSG that Nov sent me a couple of years back. The one that's now a K98. Um, and that's just, it's not got like surface rust because it's just got like a weird dustiness to it, if that
Yeah.
makes
Aluminium
sense.
does oxidize. Yeah, it does
Yeah,
oxidize. So
it's not like rust though. It's like a weird,
no,
yeah,
dry powder. Sort of.
yeah, essentially. It's like
Yeah.
someone's been using it for
Other
leisurely
things.
activities.
Yeah.
So yeah, so in terms wise, so that's you can see that that's obviously the front receiver. We'll say the receiver's 3 parts because obviously the receiver essentially runs the length of the gun, doesn't it?
Yeah. You
So you've
got the
got the
two CNC aluminium ones, and then the nylon fiber bit at the front.
yeah. So in that picture, you can see the nylon front bit, and then the metal bit, the hop unit, and the second metal bit, which is the chunk of it. And then internals wise, that's what you're looking at. So you can see it's got 13mm guide, 13mm springs, a very similar piston to the SSG, albeit bigger. The piston is very, very close to VSR spec, like very,
Yeah.
very close. Because when Gary come down, we put a wasp in it, and I won't say why it didn't work because there's probably a spy in here who's going to run away and tell the other person how to fix their broken piston. So we'll leave that for them to work out. But there's just a few things that make it not VSR.
Yeah.
But the cup seals perfectly. Consistency's good. I think you've had the same, right? Your consistency's
Yes.
been
Like one, less than one.
yeah for a stock piston. It's insanely good.
Yeah.
Herein comes the first sort of what is this comment, which is on the right hand side of that picture. The cup has what we will dub a nipple,
Yes.
and that nipple goes into the cylinder head. But if you look at the size, it's very much a hot dog down a hallway situation. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like trying to
It's,
throw a
it's like
tennis ball into a football
yeah.
goal. Football
It's
goal?
like the third.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a third nipple. It's there and it's pointless.
Yeah. I mean, aesthetically pleasing, but otherwise hasn't really got a
Yeah.
use.
No.
But the damper pad that comes with the cylinder head is a nice 40 sure, I'd say. Maybe
Yeah.
30.
Knowing Modify, that would be like aircraft grade rubber as well. So it's gonna last forever.
Yeah, it's not NBR. It's
No.
that is closer to a type of silicon that I use for not this gen of flamingos, but one of my previous gens, which is similar to what their rubbers are. But it's good. It works. It's consistent.
Yeah.
Like you're not really gonna have to change it. I think I'll let you take over here. There might be some aftermarket parts coming for that.
Yeah. Well, obviously we know there's going to be a gold thing in development, but as part
One
of
of
the
these.
elite, yeah, there's as part of the elite kit, and from day one they have an adjustable air brake piston in development. They'll be sending it out to me for testing and playing around with as soon as they've got one ready. But the reason why they kept with they did have a longer air brake on this, which was functional, but because ASG specify their FPS in twos, the air brake, obviously using light ammo, it lowered the FPS by a lot because obviously you get the piston bounce and the
Yeah.
BB still travel, so it reduces power. So they've had to cut the air brake down to get the power up on twos, which is fine for twos, but nobody plays with twos, and it's all about duals these days.
And they're kind of dual neutral. Like, I don't know if you chronoed it on twos, but
I don't even own any twos.
I found some in a bag, so they might have even been swollen. I don't have twos. I used to have like just a bag of crappy twos for testing, but I don't know, they went walkabouts. But I had a pot, and it's like the little bag you get when you buy an MK.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was it's one of those, but from like an STTI MK. And yeah, obviously the hop was set for 4.8, so you don't get a true reading. But
no.
Yeah, they're kind of dual equal. Like they're not. The difference between them isn't like huge enough to be considered a dual loss or a dual creep.
Right.
And I think it's obviously because they're not over volumed. Well, they're not over volumed, and obviously the piston's light. I think the piston's like 40 grams. I think something.
It's 38. Yeah, so you're
Yeah,
close.
38.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so internally wise, that sort of the guts of the cylinder are really good.
Mm.
Then I'm glad I prepped this. This is like a here's what I did earlier. These are
It's like
all
a flow.
these pictures can all be found in the blog, guys. If you want to have a look at that later.
Okay.
Yeah. So you talk us through, Gary. You've had this a lot more than I have. I've obviously had it apart and tested it in sort of
Yeah.
test conditions, which you've gamed with it. Like, how does this rubber and this hop arm stand up?
It lifts your balls fine. That's all I can say. It's accurate as hell. When uh, is Brad Norse in the house? I don't know if he's watching. He should be.
I think yeah, he is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's it. Yeah. So Brad in introduced me to Modify when we went to IWA, and we sat down and had a chat about what needs to be inside a sniper.
Hmm.
And one of the big things was the hop unit. Ideally, it needs to have a TDC adjustment. So this not only has ambidextrous sliders for adjusting the hop, like traditional VSR type things, it's also
There you
got
go.
a tiny grub screw. It's really small. It's like 1.5 mil Allen key to
Oh, it's
adjust it.
tiny. Yeah.
But they've had to keep it small to stay in
Licensing.
licensing. Yeah, if you don't
Yeah.
want to have a massive block on top, so they've hidden it. There was whispers about them producing a block that they attach to the rifle
Hmm.
as an extra thing later on. So that may turn up. So yeah, it's not only got the sliding arms which you can adjust from one or the other. It's got the TDC grub screw as well, and it's got the new design Predator hot bucking, which they have described it as a like a Eurofighter type of profile.
It's
Um,
basically an old maple leaf diamond bucking. It's
yeah,
very, very similar to that, but they've tweaked it so that it doesn't catch on the barrel edges and
that's right. Yeah,
it
yeah,
centers it. And for obviously, I I've tested a variety of buckins. I like modified buckins. I think in terms of performance, they're certainly up there. My only gripe with them is they just get devoured in the nozzles.
yeah,
Not so much when they're used in rifles like the APS-2, but when you use them in a VSR or gas blowbacks, because they've got that additional lip that gives you pretty much perfect seal every time, in fairness.
yeah. It's like a backwards non-return valve, isn't it?
Yeah, which, funny enough, there's another bucking out there that's taken that idea as well.
Mm.
Hmm,
And that self-destructs as well, doesn't it?
it does. Sometimes you just
Mm.
look at it and it has, which is quite funny. But
It
that's,
cracks
yeah,
itself.
that's, but the way I look at that is a buckin's a consumable, right? If it lasts
Yeah,
20,000 rounds, brilliant. If it lasts
yeah.
20,000 rounds in a sniper rifle, that's like, unless you're a shit shot,
Several
that's,
years. Yeah.
yeah, that's a long time.
Mm.
Where's the other
Unless, of
pitch?
course, you're silly giddy who's gone through like 100,000 4.8s in this year.
Yeah, yeah, he does seem to go through the old
Yeah,
the white stuff. Let's make his way
yeah.
through the white stuff.
He certainly does. He strokes them out a lot.
So so as Gary was saying, so this I keep looking to my
Yes.
left because I've got my stream on the left so I can see what everyone else can see. Because otherwise I'm
Yeah,
just talking to Gary one on one.
yeah, yeah. I'll keep doing the same thing. But
So I'm
yeah,
just
so it's
like,
got the hop. The hop arm's got the traditional or the old style fang.
yeah,
So you've got the hop arm, and you've got two arms that come down, and if you use that, it produces a very sharp V on the
mm,
booking profile, which is incredibly accurate. The accuracy of that is like it's down the vertical crosshair of the scope
yeah.
every time.
Before I put in the little H nubby thing, the vertical
Yeah,
consistency is reasonably good. It was the horizontal that was incredible because of that sharp V. That BB is centered, and
yeah,
I don't know whether it's nozzle placement or the lack of maybe grip that causes skidding, so you get that under and over. So, but left to right, it was very, very good. Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
could comfortably predict, even with wind, how it was going to act, which is quite nice.
yeah.
But they make a little add-in, don't they? Don't they,
Yeah,
Gary?
they do. They do. It's like a rubberized H plate or H
Nub.
plate, isn't it?
Yeah, H
Yeah,
play,
H
H
nut.
nub. Yeah.
But it's angled, isn't it? If you
Hmm.
it's like got a flat top and the bottom's like this. So obviously when it's in the arm, it goes down. It goes down more or less horizontal.
Yeah,
Um,
they've matched the profile, which is a pretty
yeah,
they've done a good job of it. Like I if they made a hop chamber like this that fit in a VSR, I'd just use it. Like I'm
Yeah.
making my own hop arm for a VSR anyway, just so that when I knock out rifles for people, I can just use the stock chambers and keep costs down, but have a decent arm. But if Modify made one, I'd use it. Like my buckins work in it, their buckins are really good in it. Maple Leaf and everything else will fit in it, and it's just a really well designed chamber. The only thing that I can't remember if they've done it now, but you know, on the arms, you've got on the plastic arms, you've got two separate screws, haven't you, that hold the two pieces together.
Yes. Yeah.
They've actually tapped theirs, haven't they? They don't just give you self-tapping screws like most people
No,
do.
it's threaded. Yeah.
Because I was taking it apart, and obviously normally when you've got a VSR unit apart, you know which screws are which, because there's sort of the ones that are threaded properly and are like a little bit,
thread.
and then there's ones that you'd expect to be putting into like a set of wood drawers. So I saw that and I was like, oh, that's pretty, credit where it's due, that's pretty good. I mean, to be fair, the SSG-24, which is obviously made by Modify, I got one of them. Mine's in a K98 stock with a Proto Wasp and a Crazy Jet, I think. But I'm still using the... I think I whacked in a Modify Tan.
Yeah.
And it still seals. And it still works. Like, that's just in a box somewhere. But, yeah, their rifles have got better. And if this is the quality of rifle they're going to be putting out in future, I generally think other companies are going to have to up their game. Because there isn't anything to really fix with this, I find. You can fix the twang, and that's pretty much it. Like, the one that you brought down for me, sealed, absolutely fine. It's consistent, no issues. It fed. I think I had one issue, which was a user issue, and I saw a load of people had the same problem, which is if you put the mag well like 1 mil too far forward, it binds, so you can't spring it back out. Other than that, but I knew I'd done that on the SSG, so the second I did that, I was like, oh, no, I've done. Like, pretty common thing to do. What other picture? Performance-wise, so on the screen, that is after putting in the little HE nub thing.
Yeah.
On a 4.8 on the stock. Everything's stock, and the hop was set for 4.8s, 2.43, and I imagine that will probably bed down to, well, to be fair, Modify springs don't massively lose their power, so I might have to nip a single coil off, or just see what happens with the Wasp in it. But as standard, that's fine. Like, clip a coil off, you're good to go. Like, for UK anyway, obviously, if you're in America, that's fine. If you're in some of the European countries, it's fine. But for UK, that's perfect for me. Consistency, annoyingly, I haven't got a picture, but I think I put something on Instagram where it was like less than 2 FPS variants, like max variants, which is
which is it's incredible, really. All I'll say is, like, if you use the nub, which greatly reduces the hop force required to lift your 4.8s, just back the sliding arms off all the way and just stick with the TDC.
Yeah, I like the arm, personally. I like TDCs, but I feel I like the arm because it's nice to have an arm that works and holds its position. Although, completely unrelated, but I feel I have to share this because no one's ever said it. And now someone's going to come forward and be like, oh, I knew about that. I'm calling bullshit. No one did. But yesterday, I was taking apart a Simon CM701. I know, completely off topic. But I stumbled across something that made me genuinely confused. And then think, and then have an epiphany moment. And then just be like, my mind is blown. So, standard Simon CM701 hop unit, right? So you got your silver unit, and you got your two black arms, the adjusters. Self-tapping screws, blah, 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 blah. The little nub that clicks is inside the plastic bit, and it doesn't fall out like a ball bearing does on some of the other units, which is pretty clever. But, bearing in mind, I have taken and upgraded hundreds of these rifles, right? The CM701 is probably one of the most common rifles that I used to upgrade. But, if you look at the inside of the little... So if I get the picture of the Modify one back up. So where those black adjusters are, right? There is actually an O-ring cutout. And what you can do is you can put I can see your brain gun. You can put a 5mm by 1mm O-ring on the barrel, put the adjusters on, and the O-ring sits inside a perfect recess so that when you tighten it, there's no flex in the arm and it doesn't move. Like, it requires force to move. Simple
So
little thing, but it
it's a
works.
friction
Yeah,
mod.
and it just
Yeah,
relies on an O-ring on the barrel. So you,
yeah,
rather than like knocking it and then you just hear it go click, 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 and you're like, God damn it. It's
yeah,
pretty, it gives it like a decent amount of rigidity, and it stops
yeah,
any left to right movement because it's centered on the barrel. I just blew my
yeah, yeah,
mind. I was like, how have I
yeah,
not seen this? Like, I've had these apart so many bloody times, and I never thought to just, because normally you just whip it out. Either you put a gunsmithy TDC in which case the arms are gone, or you
yeah,
just swap
yeah,
out for an AA chamber, which is sort of
yeah,
the go-tos. You rarely just
yeah.
leave a normal
Well,
arm in there.
in the I don't know if you knew this, but in the SSG 24 groups, people were moving that little clicky clicky thing, and
Hmm.
there's wrapping the inner barrel with electrical tape.
Yeah.
So there's doing the O-ring mod, but using electrical tape, so that those plastic arms clamped, and it
Yeah.
became a friction adjustment
Yeah. And then Simer,
O-ring.
do it, and then never tell anyone. Never make a point of it.
Yeah,
Ah, it's crazy. But
maybe that's
yeah, it was.
yeah, maybe that's how they're a little bit different.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't mind Simer. That for a budget company, they do some good stuff.
Yeah,
So what have we covered? We've had our initial thoughts. We've done that. I feel we've spoke about the internals. Performance wise, range is what I'd say comfortably sort of 80 meters if you're using the accurate the
yeah,
fang arms. A little bit more if you've got like the little nubby thing.
yeah. I'm in that boat, probably the same as Smithy. Like you got physics that you're applying to a ball, and you're using the most efficient way to
Hmm.
apply the backspin to the BB at the given power at the given weight. If you can match that, I think any rifle will shoot the same as any other rifle. It's just about how to efficiently achieve it. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think 80 meters.
I think if you had the same power level, the potential range should be similar across most platforms
Yes, yeah,
if you could meet the same criteria. The
yeah,
problem is there are so many variables. Like you can have two VSRs, and if the power was the same and the hop was the same and the barrel was the same, and the only difference between them was that one piston weighed 30 grams more, but they still had the
yeah,
same
yeah,
output power, that
yeah.
30-gram piston will shoot
Oh,
ever so
just
slightly, maybe not further, but flatter for a longer period of
flatter.
time due
Yeah,
to the acceleration of it versus the amount of time that baby's going to be on that contact patch,
yeah,
i.e., the
yeah,
skidding issue that I think exists and is wholly the reason why you get the white crap on there in a line. Because if you didn't have it, if it didn't skid, you'd have one circular spot where it's sat every single time, but you don't. You end up with a patch where it grips and
yeah,
stutters. But
yeah,
yeah, I think trying to like you shot that Delisle rifle, right? That I have, the one jewel thing,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
one jewel, and I think we are what hitting 80 meters with that in that
yeah.
field,
Easy. Yeah, that's a good reserve guess. Yeah,
and we were also shooting SRSs at 2.3 joules.
yeah,
The only difference, the Delisle took about a minute to get there, but
yeah,
it got there. It still got the same range. It was just slower.
yeah. Well,
Reason?
I think it's a case of like matching BB spin
Hmm.
to forward speed.
Yeah. Like there's a point of where like you look at old guns like I think it was like some of the old Asahi that used to have like the true LRB mods.
Yeah,
They had horrific like accuracy vertically, but insanely good horizontal. Yeah. And they didn't have a true hop. They just relied on the BB just
with bent
riding on
barrel.
the top. So the
Yeah, yeah,
hop was inconsistent, but at the power they had, you couldn't really beat them in range without like spending an insane amount of money. They just worked. Or you look at a 2.3 joule spring VSR, let's just say it's full of AA parts, versus a 2.3 joule Mancraft VSR.
yeah,
The Mancraft VSR with a standard modify like nub bucking or a 9-ball nub bucking will shoot as well, if not better, than the spring version with the best R hop
easy.
because of the way that power interaction with the nub. It's instant on a gas release versus the acceleration required on a piston. And I think
Yes,
that little thing there is why some gas rifles can shoot phenomenally well
yeah,
versus a spring equivalent. But we're getting distracted there. We could talk about that in a fucking separate stream.
Yes.
Yeah, the MK is a prime example of it just works.
Yeah.
Right, guys, I'm going to try and get the questions bit to work. That's from Steve Bayless, and he says, would I have to fit a 3 dual spring just to get 2 joules with your pistol? Oh, right, okay. I see what you did there. See what you did there, Steve. No, you will generally get quite good power out of the suitable spring, i.e. my TAC has a 2 dual spring, and I can get 2.76 joules out of it if I get the right weight.
Yeah. One of my little bug hates, which I detest when I hear it, is people say you can put in a longer air brake to reduce the power. But that's like driving your car down the road with your feet on the brakes. It's not right.
That's not what brakes are for. Publish.
I mean, by all means, do it if you need to squeeze through a chrono for a game, but it's not how you like build a rifle.
So this is a question we can both answer. So I don't know if you want to answer it first, Gary, but it's from Ryan, and he's asking, would you use the Steyr over any of your personal rifles for a game day?
Yes, easy. I would use the Steyr on iron sights.
I was literally about to say he's going to bring up iron sights.
Yeah,
he loves those iron sights.
The iron sights are amazing. The front iron sight, I don't know if you covered it while I was off on one.
I've got all the pictures of it on the blog. I've got some cool pictures of it, but no, not on the setup.
Yeah, the front iron sight's actually adjustable for windage, and you don't need anything else. I mean,
and they're not intrusive.
No,
it's basically the rear sight is basically a circle, so like an aperture, and then the front is just a post. But yeah, it is. You could happily just blink with the damn thing, and it's consistent. They're not, because the way that they've obviously angled the front post down to match the barrel. You can literally just ping something at 80 meters, like just look at it with squint, look down your iron sight, and dink, and you just know it's going to go there.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
What else have we got?
My trouble is now I've got 7 bolt actions.
So. Rookie. Absolute rookie. Gotta get those numbers up.
The other thing is, I play.
Sometimes you can be really hurtful, Gary.
Well,
you're just rude.
You're trying to bring out the big guns.
Where's that dickhead overlay? Another question from Steve. I actually can't remember this one. I'm pretty sure it's 603, but he wants to know what is the stock diameter of the stock barrel.
I think it's 603 as well.
Pretty sure.
100% sure.
I'm basing that on they don't make any other barrels that aren't 603.
No, it's a 603 363 barrel. I'm looking on the Modify website now.
Oh, I was 7 mil out. I said it'd be 370.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Let's ask some more questions. There's some questions I can't allow on the stream, but thank you for asking them. They make my day. Oh, speak of the Das Devil, it is Brad. Brad now. For anyone in the chat, Brad now runs Now's Degree, and him and Gary run on my MK.
Yes.
But Brad's asking, and this is specifically for you, Gary, what is the Elite kit you mentioned?
Yes. So the Elite kit is rumoured to contain, let me get the rifle out. So here you have these back panels, one on either side. The Elite kit, you're going to be popping these off, and you're going to have an adjustable cheek riser. There's also a butt style spacer, which is going to be adjustable in height. There's
sell it to me, baby.
The Elite also has an extended drop down magazine, so it comes down like this, and then it comes back to the trigger guard. I don't know if it's going to be functional other than just for looks.
And storing Haribo?
Maybe, yeah, possible.
Oh, you know what they're going to do?
What?
They're going to make it a backup carrier like Maple Leaf, where you can actually put a mag in it.
Could be, yeah.
That'd be sensible if they did that.
Yeah, there's enough room in there. But
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's if they were sensible, that's what they'd do.
Yeah, because it could compress and
Mm.
squeeze down in there.
Yeah, then just
Yeah,
pop out.
yeah. Other than that, you've still got the mag storage in the space in the back there.
Mm.
And then I think they're hoping to design or sell out a bolt-on TDC adjuster because that TDC grub screw in there is tiny.
A question from me to you, Gary, actually.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Is there not a specific um, scope that was intended to be used with this rifle? And if so, will we see an aftermarket part? Because obviously ASG do like, for some of the externals, they do like the Rotex suppressors. They have like the licensed brand for suppressors, don't they? And like B&T and all those. So do you know of any aftermarket accessories that they might be making?
Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, with the scope situation there, obviously you got your real steel things which are in the real world.
Mm.
A bit overkill for airsoft, but
You say that, I'm pretty sure most people have got a Vortex. Like,
yeah,
literally, I've put a scope that's a third of the value of the whole rifle on there.
yeah. A short dot may suit it quite well because they've got like a massive window and eye relief.
I'll tell you what does look really nice on there, and this is going to get me some hate. I whacked a Leo Tech on the front end of mine. You know what? Felt good.
Yeah,
Felt good.
yeah.
Really upset someone put little T1 on there.
Life's a game.
Yeah,
Hit it.
if you can hit it, why not? What's wrong with it?
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll do a couple more questions, and then we'll bring it up to the hour mark. I'm pretty sure I was like, Gary, it'll only be 30 minutes, 40 minutes tops. An hour. I think I just need to accept that these always go on for about an hour.
Yeah.
What happens if you take off? Okay, all right. That one should pop up.
Yeah.
So this is from Richard Galloway, asking what happens if you take off the trigger box.
It's nothing happens. It's just awkward. You've got like the trigger box, and then you've got the rear bit of the trigger box which holds the thumb wheel safety, and they kind of like interact with each other before you can get the screw in. But to get the screws out of the trigger box, you've got to take the safety box off first, but it can't because it's holding the trigger box on.
It's like a puzzle box.
It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, I think Sonny has took his off. I think he messaged me saying, "How do you put this back on?"
And that's why he's having to have a stress-induced bath to calm down because it was such a ball ache.
Yeah, it's unnecessary. It won't break. It shouldn't.
Yeah,
break.
you're not going to need to. Yeah. You're never going to need to replace that cylinder. I don't see the sears or the spring guide stopper breaking. So
no,
I think
it's like
it'll be
just
fine.
just leave it in the receiver and just pull the trigger to get the spring guide out and put it back in again. It's sorry.
This question. Oh, I can answer this one. I got this one covered. So, Thiesk Velhurst, I hope I pronounced that right. Do you have any tips to take the slap out of a mancraft? Absolutely. There's a very, very, very simple tip you can do. So, if you've got the... Can I get a picture? No. Basically, when you've got the mancraft kit, have you got a mancraft kit, Gary? You're right.
Yes.
So, this will vary on different mancrafts, but Gary's kindly got it up. But on the inside of the engine, which would usually be red, basically where the bulk of the engine goes, inside the cylinder head, all you do is put a slightly thick O-ring, and where Gary's pointing now, and that's it. You put that O-ring on there, it has zero impact on the performance, but what it does do is it creates a buffer between that flat metal face hitting the metal face of the cylinder head that you get with the mancraft kit. And that's all it is. I think you can get away with just I think it's a 1.5mm cross-section O-ring, and then you just match the diameter to whatever your engine is, but the cross-section's 1.5, maybe 2. But that basically turns it into like a dull thud and takes away the metal clank. I forgot you've got that mancraft kit.
Yeah, you sent it to me.
I am nice, aren't I? I am nice.
You are, yeah. I love it.
To be fair, you've helped me out loads, so why not? I wasn't using it, but I like the mancraft stuff. Like, if like you've obviously got the extra ball ache of carrying a line or using bulbs and stuff, but in terms of just simplicity, if you ever want to upgrade something, the price on HPA versus Spring is not too dissimilar. But the HPA is easy. Like, you don't have to worry about parts meshing because you're basically just putting one whole thing in. Although I would absolutely avoid trying to put one of the semi SDIK kits into an SVD. I had one. I think Gunsmithy might have it, or I launched it. One of those might. One of those is what happened with that. But it was just a dick. Like,
is that the same as the Reaper that you gave me to put in that VSS?
No. So it's basically semi-automatic. So it's pneumatic and semi-auto. So there's no electronics.
Yeah.
But basically,
the
nozzle is adjustable, but the clone A and Ks, even of the same brand, so like A and K do an SVD, which is what it was made for.
Yeah.
The chambers just vary so much. It was just an absolute ball ache to get it lined up, and then they seem to just randomly chuck bits of material into the bottom of the receiver where the trigger is. So I had to just Dremel for days. It was it was just like VSR Mancraft kits are like 5 screws, you're in, job done. You pull the trigger, you set up this thing. Just it hurt me. It hurt me. Do another couple questions. Oh, this one's from Sonny. He's not dead.
Oh, is he at the bath?
I don't know. Why does that one come up?
It's on there on the screen, yeah.
Oh, it just has updated for me. So Sonny is asking, what's the difference in flight when using different nubs? I'll let you tackle that one.
Yeah, without the nub, the flight is more like the old traditional archy. Not much, just a little bit of an arc.
It has a flick at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But with the H nubbing, you can buy two, a red or a grey one. They're different harnesses, like 55 and a 65-degree one, I think it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and that basically reduces your hop effect that you needed. So if you're using 4.5s or 4.8s, you have to have the sliding arms almost all the way to the front. But with these nubs in, it's like barely halfway, and it makes the flight so much flatter. It looks like you get that little bit of extra range, and it's just so flat and precise. It's incredible, and it doesn't even interact so much with the accuracy left to right. I found.
No, I think when it's hard to tell because when you're at that range, anything could be affecting it. Like it could be you've just ever so slightly canted the rifle. You could have ever so slightly pulled, just like up to 50 meters. You're just hitting that target so quick. You've not got much room, or not room. You haven't got much time or distance for any inconsistencies to make their way out. So it's only really at range you kind of notice any differences. Like I remember actually, unrelated note, I was talking to Novritsch a while back. We were just having a chat about some projects and such. And one of the things me and him had a call about was barrels. And we were talking, and I remember I had the same conversation when I met Modify at IWA when they invited me over. And it's like, oh, we've tested all these barrels, all of the barrels at 30 meters. I was like, why? That's like saying a car can do 100 miles an hour, but I tell you what, we drove it to 20 and we really pushed it. Like, no, just no. Like, get 100-meter range because you can. It's only up to 30 meters. You can get the crappiest stock barrel, and you're not going to really notice anything.
No,
it's when you get the tail end of the flight path. That's where any inconsistency you sort of had here is magnified down there. Like, yeah.
I found the best way if you wanted to see what sort of BB flight you have in your rifle. You need to get 80 meters down the road and get someone to shoot you with your rifle.
And see whether it comes at you, whether it flicks up, or whether they sort of lob into you. Or do that weird thing where, do you remember with gas rifles, they do that, like they almost like go really quick and then sort of try to lift up and then sort of correct themselves.
Yeah,
like that. I think you're KJW, you've got theirs probably does it, doesn't it? With that nub.
It's weird. Yeah.
It's like it shakes in midair, but they shoot phenomenally far.
Yeah.
Right. We will do one more question. One more. Oh, this one's specifically for you, Gary. From a Gary. This is a little G on G action we got coming up.
Oh, hello.
Little G
Is
on
this going to
G.
be a troll?
No, no, no.
I do know
It's
him.
he's asking M60 or P90.
Ooh.
I've not seen your
Ooh.
M60, but I have seen the P90, and the P90 is scarily quiet, scarily fast, and shoots a lot further than it should.
Yes. And I don't know. I have so much fun with both. It's, I don't know. If I'm using the M60, I have to like embrace the role of the support gunner and
Hmm.
just lay down the plastic. And I'm using the M60 got a 420mm Da Vinci barrel recently,
Oh, I do like
and
the Da Vinci's. They are exceptional quality.
very um to reduce the FPS of my gun because it boosted it up too far. It
Oh,
added
okay.
like that, yeah, it added 30 FPS to the rifle. And I like to use point threes in the M60. And I know people say you've got to use like lightweight ammo to cover a main spread and everything like that, but I'd just rather shoot people with it, and I want to shoot them like within the first 20
The
rounds.
same people whinged about that are probably the same people running around with an AAP on 4.8s. Just going, "Meh."
Yeah, yeah. But and
You've got a
I've got a
flamingo in
pink.
there?
Yeah, I've got
Yeah,
a pink
yeah.
flamingo in there.
Actually, I need to
Um,
send you a picture. There's some headway on that project.
yeah. Oh, good. That
Yeah.
is good news because that M60 I was setting to .30 to 65 meters with a good flight, to 70 meters with a little bit of a
Mm,
kick up. Um, and that's yeah, it did me proud on at IWA. I went through 7,000 rounds in like 45 minutes. Um,
that's. I just think money. Unless you're using
yeah,
those like little 0.12 gram bright yellows just all
yeah.
over the
Uh,
place.
Yeah, I ran out of threes, and some bloke was like, "Here, have these," and poured two fives in my hopper, and it was so windy that two fives were actually doing that through the air.
Snaking. They were snaking.
It was it was incredible. I was like, "This isn't right," so I like double tapped it, and I got one round out, and it was like, it's like it's incredible. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
like
getting back to the question, uh, mm, I think the P90. I think.
yeah, I think with the
Uh,
P90 you can still play that sneaky role because it's not particularly cumbersome, is it?
no, not
Whereas
at all.
the M60 is a little bit more cumbersome, I'd say.
It's yeah, it's a force multiplier and it's a attention grabbing machine. Definitely not a penis extension.
Oh, there's one more question specific for you again, Gary,
All right,
and it's from Ed. Ed
Ed.
says,
All right,
"Did you enjoy your weekend?"
I loved my weekend. Ed was a fantastic host. He took care of my needs.
Oh, well, I won't be offended, Ed. Don't worry. I thought we were close. I thought we spoke. Speaking of
Apart from
that,
the
I
yeah,
think if Ed's still up for it, maybe next week or the week after. I'm busy at the moment. I've got a shit ton of projects on and I'm moving house. But I'm going to try and find some time. But I think Ed's going to come on here and me and him are going to do one of these about ghillies and crafting and stuff because I had one of his suits sent to me
yeah,
to. I was looking at it basically and then passed it on to a customer for him. Um, and yeah, I like his stuff. People like crafting. He's really good at it and he's a really nice guy. So I thought maybe I'll get him on here and sort of in the background have some show off
pictures of
pictures.
stuff.
Yeah, it'll be like I'll be going through the ghillies and there'll just be one of you. And I'll be like, I don't know how that got there. Ed, how did that get there? And it's just you sprawled out. He just tucks you in with a leaf suit with a
Yeah,
few tactical holes cut out. Oh,
yeah.
what's that weird little pink walnut? Right, I don't think there's any urgent questions. I think I answered all the sort of relevant type ones, but Facebook cuts them off. You sort of get a few questions in, and then if you don't tag them as ready to publish, they sort of just vanish. But
Yeah.
I think I've covered everything. If not, I'll quick fire through some. So Sunny's asking, uh, do you know if you can alter the pull sensitivity?
The trigger, I think he's
Yes.
saying.
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, I think you can. I think there's a grub screw in there. I'm sure there is.
I think
If
there is a
there's
grub screw in there, and I think the grub
yeah,
screw is on the back of the trigger unit obscured by the safety.
By the safety box.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, so you might have to go deep into find that.
Yeah. That's that'll be an hour that you're not going to get back.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I think
Work on your finger.
that's right. I'm a more of a kind of
Thumb it in.
thumb it in, spit on it and thumb it in. If that doesn't work, it's not worth your effort. Just get out.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thank you for joining. Obviously, it's good to have Gary on it. And obviously, Gary, it's always good to talk to you. And yeah, maybe we'll have some more of these. I'm gonna get Smithy on here, and we're doing Smithbusters, which is just me and Smithy. And to be fair, I've got one of these setups, so I can have 3 people.
That'd be an angry one.
So that we could have like you, me, and Smithy, or maybe get someone else on, and have a few. I could probably get a few of us on here. You think how much space is there? My computer can handle the video, so that won't be a problem. But yeah, we do a few of these. But for anyone thinking of getting a Scout, I personally would recommend it, and I'm pretty sure Gary's with me on that.
Definitely easy. It's the best. It's the best out the box you could buy. For performance, for cost, for quality.
Yeah, I generally think it is. There's very little that I'd change, and the things that I would change don't have any real world impact. They're just like little niggly things that the twang is just irritates me, but it doesn't stop the gun shooting as well as the gun shoots, sort of thing.
Yeah. So it's like at the end of the day, it's night. I hate that saying. It's everything's about what you like as a look, and the Scout has a look.
What I really do like about the Scout, and it's one thing, like, don't get me wrong, I feel like we've had a few little pops at the TAC. I do like the TAC rifle. I think there are some problems with it, and I think there are some areas where QC could have been better. But as a platform and from a design point of view, that it does have some really cool features. Like the QD on it is leaps and bounds above everything else. But one thing I'd like, if I was to be sat target shooting on a range like I was last week, I like the TAC because it has that sit down grip. I don't like
style grip.
Yeah, but when you're prone or trying to hold an angle, I don't particularly like it. Whereas the Scout is more, it's got a traditional feel. Like it feels like an M40 or like a VSR, an M700. Yeah, it's thin. It's got a good angle on it, and I like it. Like, I haven't painted this because obviously I think it's going to Brad. Hopefully, if I can sort out shipping, and I don't know if Brad will appreciate me painting it. But I was very tempted to do like a little pencotty paint on it because I think no one's done it. They almost look too nice. That I haven't seen anyone who's got one that's painted it yet. Everyone's either done a wrap or just left it. Yeah, Hutchie's, and he paints everything. So I'm surprised by that. But so yeah, for everyone in here, I think a link should have popped up. I hope it's working. Which basically takes you to the blog, which is a proper in-depth takedown of the rifle. It's got a lot more pictures. I do a full disassembly up until the trigger because I couldn't bring myself to take it apart again, and I didn't take pictures the first time I did it. So, but everything else is on there. There's some testing on there, and just general information about the rifle. So if you're interested in having a proper breakdown, go and have a look at that. If you've only just joined this video, it's going to be on Facebook, and I'll whack it up on YouTube. And obviously follow Gary. He's under GrayFox76? 79?
I'm not that old. 79. GrayFox79.
GrayFox79 on Instagram, and it's just GrayFox on Facebook, isn't it? Or is it the same?
I think it's the same.
Oh, well, when this video gets saved to the Facebook, I'll put Gary's socials in there. He does a lot of gameplay, and you've got YouTube as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got YouTube, yeah. It's hard for me to develop time to build that because I've got a 2-year-old boy and I work 40, 50 hours.
And editing takes a ridiculous amount of time.
Oh, it's incredible, yeah.
How some of our other friends do it is beyond me. Well, Mark does it because he doesn't work. He just sits in an airport and pretend he works while editing. I've seen him. He does it.
Yeah, but he does it, yeah.
Right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed it. One question did come up.
Just want to say, yeah, this is my first one of these I've ever done. So I took my cherry down.
So we do it. Yeah, I think they're good. Like, obviously I used to go live all the time, and then I just fell out of love with it. But I'm really enjoying it. It's obviously Like, we chat anyway, so why not chat about something we're already chatting about and put it online?
Yeah.
But I definitely think we
definitely.
should do some more about sort of the geeky science stuff, because we're quite aligned on a lot of times, aren't we, of what we say and stuff.
Yeah, I was supposed to do it over the summer, but I've got one of those old style radars. I'm going to set the
The
radar
scan
up at like,
chronos, the ones with the big
yeah,
prong, yeah.
yeah. I'm going to set
And
that down the road about 50 meters and,
yeah,
you know,
and
see
upset
what the
some
dual
people,
loss is.
or
But
draw
yeah,
attention.
yes, yeah,
All right, well, thank you everyone for joining. This will, as I said, this will get saved on YouTube. If there's any cool highlight bits, they'll get put on Instagram. But check out Gary's socials, YouTube's. Obviously, check out mine, check out the blog. And yeah, if you've got any feedback about this, because this is still new, so this is only my second one doing this new format. And obviously, it's the first time Gary's done it. It was the first time Steve had done it last week or the week before. So we're still trying to learn sort of how things should look and things. So any feedback's greatly appreciated. But Gary, I hope you enjoyed it. Everyone who watched, I hope you
yeah.
enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll speak again soon. Bye bye.